What's more corrupt? A politician convicted of a felony who delays resigning to keep her taxpayer funded paycheck and benefits for her son? Or a police officer who tries to meet up with a 14-year-old he stalked online? Tonight, you don't even have to choose because we are going to expose both.
You're watching Tater Thoughts, the no BS take on current events.
Welcome back to Tater Thoughts Corruption Chronicles, our new series. I hope you're loving it as much as I am. Tonight, we are exposing a sickness in the system, a rot that infects both the highest halls of political power and the very institutions meant to protect us on our streets. We have two stories for you tonight, two pillars of our society, politics and law enforcement, cracked and crumbling under the weight of their own corruption. But before we go any further, please like this video and maybe throw a comment in the comments section below. It helps us to beat the algorithms of big tech. We don't want stories of leftist corruption to go viral. Your 1 second action of hitting that like button makes a huge impact, and I thank you for it. Now let's get into it. First, the story you may not know, the one that should have made national news by now. We're at the other party, it probably would have, and it would have been nonstop. But here we go to Minnesota. Meet Minnesota State Senator Nicole Mitchell, a Democrat, a politician who for 15 long months was the poster child for the cynical power at all cost agenda of her own party.
New today, Senator Nicole Mitchell will be sentenced on September 10th after her burglary conviction last week. Experts say the senator's situation shows how important it is to do estate planning before it becomes a problem for family members.
Well, Mitchell's father died suddenly without a will or any directive for family to follow. And as Paul Bloom tells us tonight, courtroom testimony recounted the hard feelings his loved one struggled to navigate his estate.
Tell me what was going on related to sorting out your dad's estate after he died.
So, because he died without a will.
This testimony was critical to Senator Nicole Mitchell's claims about breaking into her stepmother's home last year.
And then we had the argument over your father's ashes, the internment.
Yes.
It was painful to watch. That aspect of it.
For Minnesota estate planning attorney Ed Matthews, he saw a tragic family breakdown.
It's Nicole. It's Nicole?
Oh, Nicole.
I was just trying to get a hold of my dad's things because he wouldn't talk to me anymore.
And a cautionary tale for others.
How ugly do these things get on the back end when someone does pass away and plans are not made?
Incredibly ugly, Paul. I mean, it doesn't, I'm not surprised anymore about the things people fight over. Guns, mom's pie plate, jewelry, ashes, who gets what vehicle. It just leads to family fighting.
And having just seen all the stuff of dad's in the basement.
In the Mitchell case, the lawmaker's father, Rod Mitchell, had died a year earlier without any legal documentation detailing his wishes. As Matthews points out, no will, no specifics on burial, and no guidance on what he wanted for either his remains or his belongings. In the end, the courts gave the entire estate to his spouse, the senator's stepmother, Carol, who is dealing with a recent Alzheimer's diagnosis, and not Nicole Mitchell, his only biological child. Making things more complicated, $250,000 in inheritance from a Mitchell aunt who also passed away unexpectedly. Her money ended up folded into the senator's father's estate, meaning in the hands of Nicole's stepmom.
Lori had died very suddenly, did not have a will. She had to do a will last minute, and it was just done very quickly. There were mistakes made in it.
Ed Matthews' advice, plan before it's too late. Ultimately, a jury found Nicole Mitchell guilty of first-degree burglary. She has since announced her intentions to resign from the Senate within the next couple weeks and is looking at some time in jail when she is sentenced in September. Paul Bloom, Fox 9.
As you can see on that news clip, on July 18th, a jury of her peers needed just 3 hours. 3 hours to find Senator Mitchell guilty of first-degree felony burglary and possession of burglary tools. Why? Because in April of 2024, she was caught red-handed, dressed like a cat burglar in all black, breaking into her own stepmother's home in the dead of night. And by the way, her stepmother, as you saw, has Alzheimer's. Police found her with a flashlight covered by a black sock to dim the light. Can't make this up. when the cops caught her, first she told them she was just there to grab some of her late father's sentimental items, like his ashes. But you even hear her on the body cam admitting, clearly, I'm not good at this. And man, I know I did something bad. But when she got to trial, her story really started to change. Suddenly, she wasn't a burglar. No, she was a concerned daughter just doing a welfare check on her stepmother, who she claimed has Alzheimer's. The prosecutor called it what it was, quote, the many lies of Nicole Mitchell, unquote. And the jury agreed. But this isn't just a story about one corrupt politician. It's about the machine that protected her afterwards. You see, for the last year, the Minnesota Senate has been balanced on a nice edge. The Democrats held a one-seat majority, 34-33. Every single vote mattered, and Nicole Mitchell's vote was the key to their kingdom. It was the deciding vote that passed their entire radical agenda. So what did they do when the Republicans, rightly, called for her to be expelled after her arrest? Well, Senate Majority Leader Aaron Murphy and the Democrat caucus circled the wagons. In Minnesota, they are known as DFL. That is a combination of the Democrat Party and the Farmer Labor Party, I believe in 1944 when they combined. They've ran things ever since. So what did they do? They blocked every single attempt to expel her from the party. Their excuse, get this, due process, their favorite term lately. Their favorite term when protecting criminal illegal thugs who invaded our country or thugs in their own Senate. Weak on crime at every level, from the border to the halls of their Congress. What they said was, quote, they needed to let the legal system play out, unquote. So let's talk about due process. When Republican Senator Justin Eichhorn, who was also in the Minnesota Senate, I believe, was charged with a felony in March, what happened? Bipartisan outrage. His own party, the Republicans, demanded he resign, and he was gone immediately. Not for Nicole Mitchell. Nope. The Democrats built a political fortress around her using due process as the bricks and mortar. And the most disgusting part, in one of the votes to expel her, the Senate was tied 33-33. Now keep in mind, they have a 34-33 majority. So they went to expel her and the Senate was tied at 33-33. The deciding vote, the one that kept this convicted felon in office, it was cast by Nicole Mitchell herself. Not making this up. She voted to save her own skin and her party allowed it to happen. They let her do it. They shielded her. For 15 months, they told us to wait. Then the moment the jury foreman said guilty, you would think the charade would be over. Nope. Now due process wasn't complete all of a sudden. So does she do the right thing and resign immediately? Again, nope. Does she show 1 ounce of shame? Not really. She announces she'll wait 2 more weeks. And why? Well, her lawyers say she needs time to wrap up some projects and get this, to arrange health insurance for her son. Let me translate that for you. She wants to stay on the taxpayer's dime, collecting another paycheck and keeping her taxpayer-funded health benefits for as long as possible. And as the GOP leader Mark Johnson said, quote, Senator Mitchell was convicted of 2 felonies. She doesn't get to give the Senate 2 weeks notice. And he's 100% correct. This isn't public service. It's self-service right to the bitter end. And now the entire balance of power in Minnesota is on the line. With her resignation and the tragic death of a Republican senator not too long ago, there will be 2 special elections. Control of the Senate, control of the state's agenda is all up for grabs now. Maybe it's time for the voters of Minnesota to finally wisen up and let's try out another party in the Senate. This is the anatomy of political corruption. A crime, a cover-up, and a cynical power play by a party that values its majority over the integrity of the office. They protected a felon to pass their bills. It's that simple. And now they've been exposed. But political corruption is just one side of the coin. What happens when the very people sworn to protect us become the predators themselves? Let's go to Van Buren, Arkansas, a small town, a place where you're supposed to trust your local police. But that trust was shattered on July 21st. This is Jason Matthew Seitz, a 45-year-old patrolman with the Van Buren, Arkansas Police Department, or should I say, former patrolman. He was arrested and charged with felony internet stalking of a child.
Well, tonight, deep concern on the heels of the arrest and firing of a River Valley police officer. The case against him came to a head yesterday after a state police Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force investigation. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Doug Warner.
And I'm Allie Lynch. Jason Skikes was taken into custody and charged with internet stalking of a child. And we're told some of his fellow officers even assisted state police in the arrest. KNWA's Dylan Nooner joins us live now from Van Buren with the very latest. Dylan.
Yeah, Doug, Allie, I'm here at the Crawford County Detention Center where yesterday 45-year-old Jason Skikes was taken into custody on felony charges of stalking of a child, according to the Arkansas State Police. The former Van Buren police officer was arrested after an investigation by ASP, Internet Crimes Against Child Task Force, in coordination with the Van Buren Police Department, Crawford County Sheriff's Office, and Homeland Security investigators found online communication between Skikes and a minor. Earlier today, I spoke with Casey Atwood, Director of Operations at the Children's Safety Center, and she says parents can never be too careful about teaching their kids about online safety.
If we told a kid to kick and scream and run away if someone tried to hurt them, right, say a police officer, we really can't expect a kid to really do that because we've also told them that they're supposed to trust and obey adults, right, and authority figures. So I think that we really just want to make sure that kids know that there's nothing too big that you can't bring to me.
Chief of Police of the Van Buren Police Department, Jonathan Ware, says in a statement that upon the arrest of Skikes, he was immediately terminated from his position, and a formal request was then made to the Arkansas Commission on Law Enforcement Standards to decertify him. Ware says that the action of Skikes do not reflect the rest of the Van Buren Police Department. Skikes has a hearing set for tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the Crawford County Courthouse and will continue to bring all the updates as they unfold. But for now in Van Buren, Dylan Nooner, KNWA Northwest Arkansas News.
As you can see in that news clip, that story is sickening. It started, as it so often does, on social media, TikTok. Skikes was sending inappropriate messages to a 14-year-old girl. But this girl and her mother did something incredibly brave. They went to the authorities, and that's when the trap was set. Rightfully, the case was handed over to the Arkansas State Police. They took over the girl's account and started messaging this sick patrolman themselves. And this officer, this supposed public servant, he took the bait. The messages became explicit. According to court documents, he asked the girl if he could massage her upper thighs and other areas that we won't even mention. He then arranged to meet this person he thought was a 14-year-old girl behind a Casey's convenience store. But when he showed up, he wasn't met by a child. He was met by a team of his fellow officers who put him in handcuffs. And the kicker, he confessed, admitted to messaging the teen, admitted to driving to that gas station to meet her. There's no due process to hide behind here, just a predator with a badge caught in a digital dragnet. Rightfully, his police chief fired him right there on the spot. The chief even put out a statement saying Skikes' actions do not reflect the integrity and dedication of the men and women who proudly serve. And I believe that. The good cops are the ones who arrested him. But it doesn't change the fact that a wolf was guarding the sheep. And hopefully the court will at least see the danger. They did set his bond at $500,000. But as you will see in a video that will show up on your end screen, just the other day, I reported on another predator who impregnated a 14 or 15-year-old in Arkansas and was sentenced to probation and, get this, parenting classes. You can watch that video right after this. So what's the lesson here? Whether it's a state senator in Minnesota protected by her party for a political vote and health insurance for her son, or a patrolman in Arkansas using his position of trust to hunt for children online, on TikTok, the story is the same. It's about the abuse of power. It's about a rot that we cannot afford to ignore. Don't let them forget it. Don't let them sweep this under the rug. Vote. Vote like your children depend on it. Vote like an Alzheimer's elderly lady depends on it. This is the swamp in action, from the State House to the squad car. Don't forget to check out the video on your screen of the Arkansas judge who sentenced the predator to parenting classes. And that has been today's Tater Thought.
You're watching Tater Thoughts, the no BS take on current events.